Welcome to the Global Conversation. Our guest is Dr. Denis Mukwege, a gynecologist who spent over 20 years helping victims of sexual violence in the Democratic Republic of Congo. His work as a doctor and human rights activist was awarded the Sakharov Prize in 2014 and the Nobel Peace Prize in 2018. Thank you, Dr. Mukwege, for joining us from Bukavu, capital of the South Kivu province in DRC. What impact has the COVID-19 pandemic had on the work of the hospital and the Ponzi Foundation in providing medical and social services to women victims of sexual violence?
The hospital does not only provide medical treatment to victims of sexual violence, but also what we call holistic care, which consists of 4 pillars: a medical pillar, a psychological pillar, a legal pillar, and a socio-economic pillar. And it's this pillar that suffered greatly during the COVID-19 pandemic, as there was a slowdown in economic activity. So all those women who were living with limited resources in terms of their income-generating activities, today we see them coming back to us for new support to be able to restart their businesses. When women are not economically self-supporting, when they're very poor, they also become more vulnerable to sexual violence.
So since there's less mobility due to the pandemic, have you noticed any changes in the cases that arrive at the hospital?
In the hospital, we observed an increase in the number of rapes of children. And maybe this can be explained by the fact that the children don't go to school at the moment, and that the parents are more concerned with finding ways to look after them and feed them, that the children are then left to themselves, and therefore they're more exposed to rape. It's true that the number of children treated during the pandemic period has been higher than usual.
You're working against the impunity of the crime of rape as a weapon of war. Why do you advocate the creation of an international tribunal?
There were hundreds of women who were raped in one night. There were systematic rapes. We saw children, babies, old people, even men who were raped. Today, the perpetrators of these crimes are known, and they go unpunished. These perpetrators are nationals as well as foreigners, because at this time, while I'm speaking with you, there are foreign armed groups that continue to commit crimes in the DRC. Today, we have tried everything. We've tried force, we've tried negotiation, we've tried peace agreements, but it's not worked. I believe that the only element that has not been used is justice. An international court for the Congo can deal with the big fish, but we also need to have mixed specialist chambers throughout the Republic. And the objective for us is that not only do the public need to know the truth, they also need to be able to say, never again.
And how does the Global Survivors Fund that you created a year ago to fund reparation projects for survivors of sexual violence work?
For the care of victims of sexual violence, especially in the medical and psychosocial field, we have the continuous support of the European Union. And the objective of this global fund is to support reparation projects in the countries, because we believe that if women have the courage to go to court, to be able to file a complaint, they should not be discouraged because afterwards no reparation is made. I believe that if women have already had the courage to overcome their suffering and to file a complaint, It's our duty, and the duty of humanity, to help them to go all the way. And to go all the way is to help them heal. This healing cannot take place without justice and reparation.
The European Union and the African Union intend to launch a new partnership in 2021. What should be the priorities for action in countries most affected by conflict and humanitarian crises such as Congo?
Development cooperation on issues of common political interest between Europe and Africa, broader cooperation on migration issues, climate change, peace and security, they're noble objectives. I believe that the biggest problem today is implementation. It's the implementation strategy that suffers. If we do not work for peace and security in Africa, then what happens? Young people don't have hope, and then young people tend to take the path of migration, with all the consequences, which for Africa is the loss of brain power, but also in Europe, where migration leads to the rise of extremists, which is not a good thing. But between the two, there is all that happens in the Mediterranean Sea, where dozens of young Africans die, which is not humanity's finest moment.
People call you Dr. Miracle, but you continue to receive threats because of your work. What does your day-to-day work consist of?
We hope to be able to continue to do our work of supporting women. But in the future, we need to eliminate rape. For us, putting an end to this violence against women, that would be the pinnacle of our work. Since we hope to see one day Congolese women being able to go out to farm, to fetch water or firewood, and to return without fear of being raped.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mukwege, for your participation in the Global Conversation.